Before the MAG detonation team can blow the fuses, they warn nearby residents. They rehearse procedures, halt traffic on the highway, spool out meters of cord, position us a safe distance away. The first two set off are cluster bombs. The third is white phosphorus, which causes serious burning. From a distance, it doesn't seem so dangerous, but it envelops the camera like a fast-moving fog. You can imagine what it would do to your skin. 3 more bombs that won't blow up in an unsuspecting child's hand. One reason this border area near central Vietnam was targeted by the U.S. government was that the North Vietnamese Army used it to move men and munitions south. Dubbed the Ho Chi Minh Trail, it was made up of many paths, some of them still visible today. These rocks were laid by the Vietnamese Army to pave a road as part of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. But it's the Lao peasants, not the contending armies, who have been held hostage to those battles. These days, Tim Ma La can get his whole family involved in clearing brush for planting. At 55, he's old enough to remember the giant bombers.
3, 4, 5 planes came at the same time. The bombs opened in the air and there was dust all around. I just ran to the jungle and hid.
Until last year, his fields were still riddled with unexploded cluster bombs.
They looked like tennis balls.
Do you remember what kind of bombs or how many?
39.
And so now that MAG has cleared it, what are you doing with the land?
Right now I am planting sugarcane and bananas, and then I'm going to turn this field into a rice paddy.
Tim Ma La's field could be called the after picture. Here's a before. In this village, the elder took us to where some children had made an alarming discovery just the day before. This paddy's full of cluster bombs. There's 2 here, 2 behind me, 1 over there, a handful of them over there. You can only imagine how many are beneath the surface. Oh my God, so many. A MAG community liaison is called in immediately. He goes through the field, spraying every bomb he can see a bright red, a warning to stay clear or an invitation to harvest. MAG officials say some villagers are actually reluctant to report bombs they discover on their property. They regard them as money in the bank, an income source to be tapped in the future. Scrap metal is everywhere here. Even at this roadside cafe where we stopped for a bowl of soup, we found a pile of shrapnel and even a cluster bomb. We uncovered lots of big bombs too. This is a big bomb. This one, hidden under some sheet metal, has saw marks. Apparently the scavengers tried foolishly but unsuccessfully to hack it into unidentifiable pieces. This farmer, Boan Tung, discovered a 750-pounder at the edge of his field last year. It's hard to make out right now. Recent rains have partially filled the excavation with mud. He's resisted MAG's wish to take it away. To you, did it make more sense just to learn to live with it rather than risk the explosion and destroying it?
The MAG teams came here to identify this bomb and also to inform me that they will have to take it away.
He wants them to blow it in place, but they say it's too big and too close to the road, power lines, and houses. Every bomb we saw looked as old, as rusted, as mud-covered as you'd expect. But there was one that really surprised us. This woman told us she had walked just down the hill from her home to pick banana leaves to cook with, something she had done hundreds of times. She accidentally stepped on what she thought was a rock, and it rolled over. Look at this. It's still bright green, unmarked, looking as fresh as the day it was dropped. Some villagers turn the shells into useful household items while they hang on to them. Sheds and ladders and boats, feeding troughs and flower pots, fence posts and pillars. And they find uses for the thousands of craters as well. The irregular holes fill with rainwater. inviting as impromptu swimming pools. Okay for water buffalo, but too toxic for children. It is the biggest challenge MAG faces, convincing people living in poverty that risking death for a few pennies isn't worth it. Here's a perfect example. Remember those brothers who were crippled by the cluster bomb that exploded while they were trying to harvest it? Just outside their home, we encountered their little sister, dragging a bag of bomb pieces. What will she do with the money?
I will give the money to my mom.
Do you do this every day?
Yes, I do it every day.
Is this a good catch? Is this a lot?
Yes, it's a lot.
This tiny child out there every day, despite what happened to her brothers, helping to support her family of 12. And these young teens jeopardizing life and limb for an impossible dream. Does the money help support their families?
No, we are saving to buy a motorbike.
It's so much. It's incredible how many bombs were dropped.
Ian Thomas is the cartographer who created that Google Earth map we showed you earlier.
The best estimate is something like 200 million cluster bombies and big bombs in Laos.
What gave you the idea to do this?
It was very hard to show this data any other way because it's 1.6 million points for Southeast Asia.
But when you say 1.6 million, you mean there are 1.6 million attacks that you're trying to put on a map where they drop their payload?
Yeah.
Like with this, what's this kind of...
What's going on here is that they were looking for choke points where the trucks could not hide. If they could hit the choke point and fill it with craters, it would block the road. So this particular area here, it's got hills on either side. So this would be a good place to cause a choke on the road.
But why is this looks elongated like this? What is...
If we see a stack of bombs like this, these big bomb stacks, this is actually, if you query the top one, it will tell you how many bombs is in that total stack. So this is one XY target point, and in this particular place, 471 large bombs were dropped.
Wait, these aren't little bomblets. These aren't cluster bombs. These are large bombs?
Yeah, these bombs would easily destroy a house.
When I see some of these maps, it looks as if the entire area is just covered with dots. When it's like that, how helpful is this? Because it seems that like just stick a shovel in the ground anywhere and you're going to find a bomb.
It helps prioritize our clearance efforts.
He is dedicated to showing just how intense the bombing was because he's outraged not only at the destruction, but the waste, the potential that was lost.
If you took all the bombing from Laos, you could have had 100 new Apollo launches, and you could have had 5 Neil Armstrongs walking on the moon at the same time.
And he's grateful for the formerly top secret material we've unearthed.
We've always known that stuff is missing. We did not know how much.
For Ian Thomas and for many of the MAG workers, this is personal. This team leader told me he joined MAG after he had to rush a friend injured by a bomb to a hospital.
I took him to the hospital. He was badly injured, but he survived. But even before that, I helped people in our community take dead bodies to the cemetery, people who had been killed by bombs.
The picture can tell them.
Others, like Len Sifavong, are haunted by the images of little children playing the French game pétanque with cluster bombs that they mistake for balls.
The bombs have to rotate a certain number of times before they explode. If they were dropped from a low-flying plane, they might not have had enough rotations. The children roll them, and when they spin enough, they explode in their hands.
Personal tragedies and individual efforts to avert them, a sometimes futile attempt to make up for a cruel and impersonal legacy of war. I learned in school that the last casualty of the Vietnam War occurred in 1975. But the reality here on the ground in Laos explodes that belief. The bombs those U.S. pilots dropped all those years ago continue on their mission to mutilate, maim, to kill. The casualty count here continues to grow. Meanwhile, America's moved its shock and awe tour onto the next stop in another part of the world. And the bombs keep falling.